You're watching the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey. Jamal Adams did not come to the Dallas Cowboys. Safety, still kind of a need, though. So to answer the questions I keep getting, I'm putting together this list. Some players the Cowboys could sign or trade for right now to address the safety need, and I'll throw in some names next offseason to watch out for as well. Cowboys got about $10 million in cap space. Xavier Woods, Clinton Dix are both in the last years of their contracts. So long term, there's nothing there unless you believe in Tavon Wilson, which we'll see, right? Short term, I don't trust the depth in Darian Thompson and Tavon Wilson. I think there are some players out there who could come in and help the Cowboys out, be a positive addition, fill a depth role for Dallas, and with where things sit right now, for the most part, that probably makes the most sense. So first up, Eric Reid, who I would very much like to see the Cowboys sign. He was good in 2019, not elite, but he was starting caliber. And if I'm adding a player at this stage in free agency I'll emphasize that part, I'd like for someone to be able to fill multiple roles. Eric Reid can do that. He can play the nickel or the big nickel that was as a safety linebacker hybrid role. He's not going to be an Earl Thomas rangy free safety, but he can stop the run. If Jalen Smith gets hurt, if Leighton Vander Esch or Sean Lee get hurt again, he can play linebacker for you. I think that carries value. I don't think he'd be very expensive. So Eric Reid is the first name that I would be calling if I were the Dallas Cowboys. The first name I think many of you would be calling is Eric Berry, which is fine, except there's one giant red flag issue question mark with Eric Berry. His health. His foot is not right. The Cowboys brought him in for a visit last offseason. The result of that was he didn't pass the medical. He's played in 3 games since 2017. That's not good. Eric Berry, when in his prime, borderline Hall of Fame caliber safety. The issue is, he ain't in his prime anymore. If you could bring him in and get him healthy, I would have interest there. I'm not convinced he's going to be healthy. That's kind of a big problem for the Cowboys and for Eric Berry. So I would explore it. I want to see how the medical looks, but you've also got a player who hasn't been in football shape for 3 years now. That's kind of a problem. So between the two Erics, who would you rather have on the roster? Would you rather bring in Eric Berry, or would you rather bring in Eric Reid? Pick an Eric, if you will. I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down there, cast your votes. B for Eric Berry or R for Eric Reid. We'll go a little bit faster now on some of these other free agent safeties still out there. Jahleel Addae fits a very common role in these next 6 players we're going to discuss. Veteran, strong safety option. Used to start for the Chargers, rotational player last year. He's on the downside of his NFL career. A sleeper option we haven't actually mentioned before on the show at any point is Tavon Wilson, coming off statistically one of his better seasons. Detroit Lions said, we're not going to bring you back. We're going to trade for Duron Harmon. He remains unsigned as a cheap veteran option for depth. Worst case, he's your George Iloka. Yeah, I'd go ahead and sign him. Now, speaking of safe, I hope you guys are being safe out there. Head over to chatsports.com/CowboysMask. The Cowboys branded masks from our friends over at Fanatics. They are still available from individuals all the way up to 4-packs. The full assortment is available at chatsports.com/CowboysMask. If you plan on going to a game, gotta wear one. If you're in Texas, you still gotta wear one. So check them out. Links in the comments and in the description. chatsports.com/CowboysMask. A more well-known name next up here is Tony Jefferson, who the Ravens cut early in February. He tore his ACL in October. I thought he was going to be good to go for week 1, but with no real physicals being able to be done, maybe that's not the case. Older player, but the Cowboys don't have a true strong safety. Jefferson could fit that role. Some other veteran safety options here. Morgan Burnett last played for the Cleveland Browns. Antoine Bethea played for the New York Giants last year. Clayton Geathers is maybe the most intriguing name on that list to me. Started a bunch of games with the Indianapolis Colts, led by former Cowboys linebackers coach Matt Eberflus on the defensive side of the ball. I'd explore it. Again, these are veteran stopgap options, but they don't really move the needle in the way that some other players do. Some trade targets we'll get to here in a little bit as well. Before we do that, though, I want to hear from you guys. Name a safety that you want the Dallas Cowboys to add. I see a Derwin James in there from King J. Let's keep it realistic. Derwin James is not available right now. I wish he was. I wish the Cowboys could get him. Not going to happen. So get your votes in there. Name a safety that you want the Cowboys to add right now. One name I actually just saw pop in there, Rashad Jones. Not going to happen. Here's why. Jones needs neck surgery. Hasn't had it yet because, well, you can't get a lot of surgeries like you normally would be able to because the world's all weird right now. So if you need neck surgery and it is, we'll just say August, you're not playing football this year. And Jones has publicly said, I'm probably not going to play in the NFL ever again. So he wasn't the same player this past year. He's on the wrong side of 30. He needs the neck surgery. We've discussed him before on the show. Since then, he said he needs the surgery. Simply not going to happen. Some trade targets then, and I'm trying to keep this a little bit more realistic, so I'm not going to put Derwin James or Juan Thornhill or Earl Thomas that I see in the comments. Malik Hooker, though, is the kind of sort of somewhat realistic guy I would go after. Colts declined his fifth-year option. There were trade rumors around him around the NFL draft. Former top 15 pick. I'm a big fan of his. You guys want a playmaker in the back end who's going to force turnovers? Malik Hooker's that dude. Now, he's been hurt a lot, and that has been a significant problem in his NFL career. He's been banged up. When he's been out there, he's been forcing turnovers. He's been making takeaways happen. It's been good for him. Hasn't been out there very often. Now, the Colts are trying to win games right now, so trading Malik Hooker doesn't make that much easier. But the most I'd trade for him right now, third-round pick. I'm not convinced the Colts do this. I think they might have some reservations. If you want to throw in a different late-round pick and Clinton Dix, since they're both free safeties, I would be willing to do that trade as well. I'm not going to go above a third-round pick, though, for Malik Hooker right now. That is more than what the Colts would get if they were to lose him in free agency via the comp pick formula. So I think it's fair-ish for them. But let me know who you think says no to this particular trade. D for Dallas or I for Indianapolis. One name we've been asked a bunch about on the show is Desmond King. I'll include him here with a pretty big but. I don't think it makes that much sense, actually. I know he's been mentioned in trade rumors because the Chargers told Desmond King, hey, he's going to play nickel corner, and that's King's spot. But nickel corner is a role the Cowboys have filled. Now, he can play some safety. I think he's best at cornerback, though. I think that is his ideal role in the NFL. He played well for the Chargers there. Let's not trade for a player and then change the position. So, in terms of like the realistic, if you will, or the rumored players on the trade block, I did want to include King here as a possible option. I just don't think it's a route I would actually pursue. Now, we're going to talk about some long-term options here in just a second. Before we do, what is your confidence level in Xavier Woods and Clinton Dix? Rate this for me on a scale of 1 to 10. How confident are you in the ability of those two safeties? 1 being you got no confidence, 10, I think they're the best safety duo in the NFL. Get your votes in. I see a 10 from Kenny Tucker, a lot of 7s here from Lane and Destroyer and Allen, a couple 3s I see in here, but I think 7s and 8s are winning the day here, which, okay. I'll be honest, I agree with what producer Brett just said in my ear. It's a little bit higher than what I would expect. All right, looking ahead now to the offseason. Justin Simmons, Anthony Harris, I know you wanted me to include them in the trade. They cost over $11 million. You can't get out of that because they're franchise tag players. They don't make sense as a trade target right now. Now, in free agency, I would love to get Justin Simmons. He also wants to get paid top 3 safety money, so I'm not going to get my hopes up quite yet. Marcus Williams, Budda Baker, promising young players. I think their teams just keep them. All right, some other players here that are free agents. These are mostly box players. Marcus Mays played free and strong. The Jets traded Jamal Adams. Maybe they'll pay him. Keanu Neal has talent, but he's always hurt. Carl Joseph could be a cheaper buy low option. And then Jaquiski Tart, maybe not back in San Francisco. The issue there is, are they going to pay a safety? Historically, the answer has been no. So let's look to the draft then. And there, I think, at the early results here, some very good draft options. Javon Holland out of Oregon has mostly been a nickel this past year, but he's, I think, a safety in the NFL. Paris Ford's a fun player. Caden Stearns is a very, very good safety at Texas. Ardarius Washington is going to be this year's Antoine Winfield. Yes, he's undersized, but damn, he's fun to watch, man. He's so quick, such a good playmaker. Andre Cisco just gets interceptions. And then my actual personal favorite guy on this list here, Hamza Nasruddin. Just call him Naz. It'll just be easier to say because it's a tricky last name. But if you're going to look long-term for a safety, I actually think draft is your best bet. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.